In video number 1, we analyzed vocabulary and we also looked at one form. In this video, we are going to look at the writing and we're going to look at a few things that might be interesting for you. Alright, so what we're going to do is read the story and I'm going to point out a few things that might be interesting to you, especially if you're around the intermediate level. It was my birthday 2 days ago and my parents got me a new car. Unfortunately, the car was a stick shift and not an automatic. One thing to notice here, I'm using it as a noun. Stick shift, automatic, I'm using them as nouns in this story. I could use automatic as an adjective. But if I wanted to use stick shift as an adjective, it could work, but to my ears it would sound better to use manual instead. And manual wouldn't sound good as a noun. So automatic, stick shift could work as nouns, and then manual works well as an adjective, better than stick shift, and automatic could work as both. So we'll read that sentence again. Unfortunately, the car was manual and not an automatic. Or actually, I like keeping it both, you know, if I'm going to use a noun or an adjective in the first part, I would use an adjective in the second part. And if I want to use a noun in the first part, then I want to use a noun in the second part. So I like how it sounds better as a noun. So what I'm going to do is not say the car was a manual, but it was a stick shift. Again, I could say stick shift car, but we already mentioned that it was a car over here. So I'm not going to do that again, you know, because I could say the car was a stick shift car and not an automatic car. But because of the context here and because it works with automatic and stick shift as nouns, I'm just going to take it out so that we don't repeat that again. So now we'll read it one more time. Unfortunately, the car was a stick shift and not an automatic, so I had to learn how to drive it. I called my friend and asked him to help me out, since I knew that he knew how to drive one. I'm going to just point something out here. Some of you might be wondering, why am I using help me out? And what happens if we take out the word out? Well, nothing really will change. The only thing that changes is the tone. So to help someone out, it sounds more casual. It sounds more kind of friendly, in my opinion, than to help someone. Or, you know, if someone helps me out, that's a little bit more friendly than helps me. Okay, so that would be the change. I do want to include that kind of context or that feeling into that sentence. So I do want to add out. I'm going to keep that in there. I'll underline this so that you can remember later what is the point that we looked at. So let's continue with the next sentence. My friend took me to some side streets so that I could practice. I already knew how to parallel park and how to switch lanes. This is in video 1. But I didn't know how to start a manual car. Here I am using manual as an adjective. And again, I switched it around just because they both mean the same thing, but it's a paragraph. I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. It would be fine in this case because I've only mentioned stick shift once, but that is something that you would try to do, especially with adjectives. If you have, you know, if you're always using the same adjective, just for variety, you would want to change it up to keep people's attention. All right. When I was practicing, I made a mistake and the car turned off in the middle of the intersection. It was a scary moment, but we were okay. Last thing I want to point out about this story is it's a story about something that happened in the past. So everything is going to be in the past tense, mostly everything. Most of it is in the past simple. It was my birthday 2 days ago. My parents got me a new car. The car was a stick shift. I had to learn how to drive it. Here I am using the past continuous, and the continuous tenses are great for when you want to show something was happening and then something happened while something else was happening. Right? So it allows us to kind of move in time, kind of zoom into a moment in time and make us feel almost like we're watching a film. And so that's why I use it here. When I was practicing, I made a mistake and the car turned off in the middle of the intersection. So these are a few things to keep in mind. Let's see, let's review. We can use stick shift automatic as nouns, and that would work. And we can use manual and automatic as adjectives, and those would work fine. I don't know how big of a deal it would be to use stick shift as an adjective. It could work, and manual as a noun could work. I just haven't really heard that in my experience. All right, so that is the analysis for this first story that we did. There will be more, and I hope these are interesting. I'm going to keep doing a few more. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.